Yo. All right, y'all. So I finally returned from my freaking, I don't know, but this is a part two. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, we doing a little different. We going on a walk. You know what I'm saying? We're in a trail right now, and man, the title. This is a part two to my 8 gram mushroom journey. This is a part two. Don't get me wrong, but I might title this video something different. I might not. I don't know. So don't hold me to it, but just know we go, you know what I'm saying? We gonna take it up a notch, But picking up from where I left off, man, when I was talking about my alteration, you know what I'm saying? When I was, becoming a shrine or experiencing my shrine or myself as the shrine, right? And all of that, you know what I mean? Just, that's where I left off and my phone died, man, last time, recording this. So just, picking up where I left off. In that moment, you know what I'm saying, just when it comes to the space of meditation, I would even say the space of manifestation, because the things that were, I would say, the things that were manifesting and showing up, you know what I mean, through my mind's eye was very much, alerting me in a sense of, I wouldn't even say alerting me, but they were appealing to me in ways of seeing my growth as a psychonaut, and I would say just as an individual on my spiritual journey, and like I was saying before, this journey wasn't expected to be much for me, because I was just, in my mind, I was like, man, I want to go in and turn up for my birthday, you know what I mean? I ain't do too much celebration, so I felt like this was the ultimate celebration of just, my soul, spiritual energy, having made, the solar return and all of that jazz. Why not go in your soul? You know what I'm saying? And so, having done that, you know what I mean, it was really just, I would say it was insightful for me in my mind to, I would say, grasp the space that I'm in and I'm traveling, or I've been able to travel through, oh shit, my headphones just fell out, but through where I come from. You know what I'm saying? So, having come from, such shadow work, I'ma just be real. You know what I mean? Because that's all it is to it. And then that's another thing that I enjoy about, as far as the realm of like the mushrooms. You know what I mean? When it comes to your truth unfolding, or what you need to see consciously, unconsciously, that's gonna be there. You feel what I'm saying? So even if it's the good shit, you know what I mean, that you've been working on or working towards, and all the stuff you've been kind of infusing into your reality, as far as your growth and your daily experience, a lot of those things will show up for you and in their significance for you to I would say hone in on, or harvest, or let's say bring them down into the material realm. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that I really enjoy when it comes to just one's learning experience, because I don't want to say a nigga don't know no shit, you know what I mean? Or people don't know nothing, because I don't like to say it in a judgmental manner. But what I'm trying to say is, whatever you think you know what I'm saying? Whatever you feel like whatever, the mushrooms gon' put it to you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get you right. They're gonna cut it to you as far as what you need to know, as much as what you think you know, and you know what I'm saying? So the learning experience from, let's say, where one maybe has been, let's say, in lower states of the self, you know what I mean, going through all sorts of different shit, you know what I mean? I don't think I should go there particularly, but I would say having healed oneself from certain mentalities and beliefs and realities and behaviors of the human, you know what I'm saying, to then break through the cyclical, aspects of the self that, one needs not to, I would say, be caught up in or be stuck in, let's say, as in a loop. So when it comes to the guides and the assistance of the mushroom, they will show you in the truth that you need to see, even if you are lying to yourself, or have been lying to yourself, or been lying, or just been in any sort of illusion. That's what I would like to say. So that's another thing that I really I honor that, you know what I'm saying, because on the intuitive sense of trusting and knowing self, right? This is where that courage and that confidence, or that strength, becomes greater, just when it comes to like you knowing that and then I guess I don't want to say I guess, but I would say like in a neurodivergence of pattern when it comes to the mind and thoughts and things and actions and whatnot, you will then know what you need to do, what you need not to do. You'll start to learn how to navigate more of your mind better, or how you are navigating your mind better, just based on the growth through you not just being you, but actually going within, the inner world, your inner world, to really explore the realms of consciousness that there is. So that's something that I find to always be like grateful for, just because, man, sometimes I'm gonna just be real. Sometimes, and it's just some real shit. Sometimes we always expect the worst, or we always expect something to be like dire, or we always expect things to be like a lot of people talk to me about bad trips and shit. And I'm not a person that subscribes to that idea of a bad trip. I honestly feel that bad trips or those dire moments are the most profound moments, because those are the most moments where you either are shedding or you are being revealed in some way, shape, or form. And how you receive that, at your own mental capacity, will definitely determine who you are, where you are, and what you are in your reality. So that's just another thing that I like to say when it comes to like the matters of the heart, one's truth, and the resilience, and essentially, I said strength, but I'm gonna say love, because love is a strength, but it's your self-love that is able to carry you forward, or carry you through these motions, to uncover or discover, or let's say even remember, the self that you need to know, as far as who you are and what you are, navigating in, right? And so that's something that I find like, man, you can't get around that, because you either gonna want to be a fucked up individual, and I'm not saying like a bad person, but you either gonna want to be unhealthy and unwise as to who you are and what you are, or you are gonna, let's say, filter out through all of that shit and get right, get in order with who you are, who you know yourself to be, and not only that, who you intend or who you want to be, who you see yourself as, or who you know or feel yourself to be capable of. That is then all possible, or when you see it all possible, or the possibilities, let's say within the emanations and the animations, of the hyper realms, then it's like, how could you deny yourself of the capability of being? There we go. And so that's something that I guess I pride on, because I'm not saying you got to be everything, I'm not saying you should be every fucking thing, but the things that call you into you, as far as for your greater good and your higher self, whatever that might be, what those things are. Those things, because you don't argue with yourself about those things. You just do it. You just are it. So that speck, or that greatness of magic, that you have within you, you gotta learn to, like, I would say, mobilize that, and not just compartmentalize it into certain areas of your life where it's like secluded, like, or let's say it's secret from you, So it's one thing, I would say, in the traversing of the mushroom, you learn your own sacramental nature through the sacred mushroom itself, being sacred itself, and the information of what's, let's say, coming through you, from you, in your own sojourn of your wisdom, your sojourn of truth, your sojourn of wisdom. And that's just what it is, because when you understand what's going on within the space of your mind and body experience, right, then you can understand how the manifestations from the emanations and animations and characters and all of the things of what you thought were real or thought were true maybe weren't, or vice versa. The things that you were looking at as false or illusory is really true. So definitely how you invoke yourself. That's what I want to say. How you invoke yourself, from a place of being, is something that, one of the great teachers talked about, man, shouts out Kalindi Iyi, was that you are qualifying yourself to receive or to be a part of the experience, or a part of the, let's say, quote unquote, magic, when you are then in the space of manifestation, emanation, whatever information that you are receiving upon whatever foundation you in or standing on, right? And so the walk of that is being able to hone in on that or harvest that from your higher self or from your higher consciousness, where you have, let's say, been revealed, or where you have received, or where you have been, I don't know, let's just say redeemed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just saying for whoever's listening, you know what I mean? For the ears to hear and the open hearts to receive truth. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention, But real shit. This journey was really something like significant for me, because it showed me how much that I don't have to do. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the overdoing, of the human behavior, even when it comes to the spiritual journey and the magic of things, so much that you don't have to do, even when it comes to explaining yourself, you know what I'm saying? Or like just, I don't know, I would say it like this, and a wise guy on YouTube, I forgot his name, but it's all good, I'm gonna tap in with him. He said some shit that was wise and very intuitive, but I could also see where it's counterintuitive, how the human or the mind plays on the energy of self when niggas start thinking and start, let's say, thinking against or speaking against and doubting, let's say, one's own experience. And so the trust of one's own experience is something that I find is like a superpower and a strength within itself, because then can't nobody outside of you take you outside of you unless you give them that power and that right, so unless you give them the key to open up that door and kick you out of your own temple and house, nigga, then what the fuck, you know what I mean? You got to know who you are, as far as knowing your power and understanding and learning that power in the sense of self. I don't want to just say memory and remembrance, but in the sense of self-actualization, as that you are powerful for sure. And so that's just something that I would like to say, because oftentimes, even away from mushrooms, just in a regular life or a real-time zone where people are, operating, they don't trust their experience is theirs. They don't trust that everything that they are, conducting themselves as or in, that it is, theirs. And so when it comes to taking the responsibility for your awareness, or taking the responsibility of God, creating your own reality and doing what you do, how you do, you got to then look at the specifics, should I say, as they say, when you speak to the universe, when you speaking in the spirit and you speaking of things you want, you got to be specific. So I say that to even, when you consider yourself, is that look at the specifics in which you are engaging in, that is then manifesting the thoughts and emotions and feelings that you, let's say, don't want to feel or are feeling, because then you'll know how to navigate, or you'll learn how to navigate these things better and much more, and even expand them in such a way. And so in the space of the mushrooms, you feel me, they gonna show you that, especially if you meant for that. And that's another thing that I enjoy, is that the psychedelic path, that's what I'll call it, the psychedelic path, the psychedelic journey, of the sage, mystic, or the spiritual being or the magician, is really a rare path that I see, maybe because I see it how I see it, but I see it being so rare because everybody does not aboard the ship. Everybody is not called upon the ship to get on the path and then travel along with the mushroom. So that's another thing that I've come to understand and learn just throughout my many sojourns with the mushroom. And from having grown to such space, it's been showing me, like I said, where I don't gotta do much, or let's say I don't gotta do much, and I'm not saying I don't have to do much on, let's say, even dosages and nothing like that, nah. But what I'm saying, because you always want to grow in dosage, that's one thing I've learned just from doing the mushrooms. And like, when it comes to the wisdom, the experience, the information, and all the shit, nigga, take it however you want to take it. But what I'm saying is, you got to be able to take yourself to these heights, you got to be able to see yourself, or even entrust yourself to be able to reach these heights, and that it is illimitable, you feel me? So it ain't what you do, it's how you do it, and that's some real shit. And I want to say it ain't where you going, it's how you get there, you know what I'm saying? That's some real shit, because we can always talk about destiny. We can always talk about manifestation. We can always talk about, this, that, the third. But we'll say the journey is ever present. You know what I'm saying? Your path, your walk, your continuum of who you are, or then are becoming or being, that is, nigga, that's constant. That's consistent. So, when it comes to the invocation of self, you know what I mean? And then furthermore, the directory of how you direct your energy, and where you direct your energy, and how you mobilize your being, that shit, man, you know what I mean? That shit ain't no joke. You know what I mean? Say it like that. It ain't no joke. But at the same time, it's realer than you think, because I would say you are not your thoughts. So if one is caught up in the thoughts, you know what I'm saying, and caught up in, if one is caught up in their thoughts and feelings and things, one should try to take the observer route, you know what I mean, to see where they can get past those thoughts and ideas, even in the sense of learning how to traject a thought at the time of then it being, let's say, thought out. You feel me? So even on the level of what I'm speaking to is that the level of awareness, you know what I'm saying, when you are able to check yourself before you wreck your own brain into an idea or a thought or an action that might cost you your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's some real shit, because oftentimes, you know what I mean, it be illusions, delusions, it be fucking fears, it be all sorts of things that the thoughts may appear as, and it don't even be. And so when you can go beyond the idea of what the thought is trying to cultivate, you know what I'm saying, then you can kind of understand the origin, or get into the origin or the nature of those thoughts, and the nature of who you are, that might say, you know what, I ain't those thoughts, or those thoughts ain't mine. You know what I'm saying? So this is just, something that, or these are just things that I've come to learn more, and I guess I'm experiencing more in such a clear way, because of the clearing and the cleansing that I've been going through, just throughout my journeys, and having seen it, you know what I mean, just within the access. That's what I would say. I say this because when it comes to consciousness and shadow work, you know what I mean, and all that, one as a soul and spirit could be carrying a lot of fuckery, knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously. So you might, want to get to a particular space or a realm or a region, or whatever consciousness, right? But your mind won't let you, or wherever you are at won't let you, because you are holding on to a particular event, a thought, a time, a person, place, or thing, whatever the fuck that is, you know what I'm saying, filtering the thoughts and things in your mind. And so you got to be able to understand when, let's say, in a space of where the mushrooms will reveal to you certain things that you need to see when it comes to your real-time experience of reality, based on the people, places, and things, you know what I mean, that you connected with, or you know what I mean. And this is where you get to learn more of your experience, because if you think that it's just so I go to school and I go to school, I have a dream and go home, or I go to work and I go home, you know what I'm saying? If you think life is just, whatever the fuck it is, and you're not understanding, the multi-dimensional and the multiverse aspect of the things that are then caused and affected and, let's say, played out, you know what I mean? That you're not even tapping in to your own experience. You wouldn't be able to learn from your own experience, because you wouldn't even be in your own experience as it is. And so this is where, that taking the responsibility of God when it comes to creating your own reality through the many thoughts and actions and things and ideas that you come with, you know what I'm saying, through the many different dreams and goals that you impose on and you achieve, or, through the many things of which you are challenged with and may fail. And you gotta, what Aaliyah say, you gotta pick yourself up and try again. You know what I'm saying? All of these things are applicable, when it comes to you being you as who you are. But at the same time, the expectation and the expectation shouldn't come from nothing outside of you. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't come from nobody, or, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. you got people that'll hold you in high regards, and I'm sure you hold people in high regards because that's just life. You know what I mean? You got, the people that you connected with. But when it comes to your sovereignty, when it comes to your life and how you live and how you operate and how you conduct this experience within your own freedom of being, nigga, that ain't nobody's responsibility but yours. So even in the peace of mind that you endure and embrace and then even contribute and share among this space, you got to know as an individual what's really worth and value unto you. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, the qualities that you are then qualified for or are of, that's you. You have to know that is you. That is you returning unto you in your most high state. You know what I'm saying? So however you do that, you know what I mean, or whatever that can transcend or transport you into that, man, don't you yourself don't be held back by expectations. Don't get me wrong, but don't let the expectations of the world, society, people, places, and things, family, anybody, bruh, don't let it hold you back, because you would only be putting more weight and damage onto your own heart and soul, not being light as a feather for you to move on and move forward in the knowing of self and the life, nigga. And that's just the truth. You know what I mean? And so you can't, and as I've been saying this shit, but you can't cosplay God. You know what I mean? You can't cosplay being a goddess, or you can't cosplay none of that shit. You know what I mean? Because real spirits or genuine spirits, genuine souls, nigga, they can see, hear, taste, touch, feel, and all the other shit you think is real without nothing physical. And so energy speaks, you know what I'm saying? Energy speaks its own language, you know what I mean, of the subtle and of the silence, or of the unsaid and unseen, that you got to be able to know yourself. And so in this moment, you know, of my journey, knowing myself and where I've come to in this point of my path, what it was being shown to me was something like, you know, I don't want to say I don't want to draw it out, but I could draw it out. Like I could just draw it, you know, but I feel to speak it more, you know what I mean, to share more of the experience will help, you know, bring clarity or clarify that. So what I was fascinated with was how my body was then I would say, it was there complete in this like shrine energy, in this figuration, nigga. I was a shrine, nigga. And what I would say would like be wheels or doors or portals or whatever have you, you know what I'm saying? I saw energy going in and out of my body. I saw even certain, you know, beings and things, you know what I mean? Just let's say in and out of the space, but it was more so through my breathing where I saw these, like, I call them wormholes opening up. And it was interesting because it was not necessarily in my frontal or upper, you know what I mean? It was around my body, like my legs and my arms and shit. And so I was like, wow, okay, this is active right here. Like in my mind, I was like, the space is very active right now. There are a lot of things going on. And what this is showing me is the, I guess we call it micro activity, you know what I'm saying? But I don't even look at it as micro because I was in it, you know what I mean? So as I was in the space, you know, eyes closed, all the shit, I'm in the space, and what's coming forth and what's coming through is just like, it seemed as that like I was being aided and assisted through my meditation, as if like, you know, my guides, you know what I mean, wanted to help work on me and my energy centers or different, you know, parts of my energy body. And so that was something that I found fascinating because I felt it was all me, not as in other motherfuckers, you know what I mean, entering my sphere, my temple, or none of that. You know what I mean? I felt it was all in correspondence and in sync with, you know, me and who I am and where I was at based on what I was doing. So I felt, you know, through the breathing, the magic of like the spirit, that all of these things are kind of like, I don't know if the word is coalescent, you know what I mean? But they're all like operating together as I am. And we, you know, it became, well, shit, as what they call it, became a true ceremony. And so, you know, for me, it was really the celebration and for my birthday and shit like that. And I really just, you know, that was amazing. And then to go forward, you know, I began getting into my chants, man. You know, I do a lot of chanting. I love, you know what I mean, the hums and the chants, and you know what I mean. I really resonate with that. And just being a sound individual, period. I fuck with it because as a musician, as a creator, as an artist, as a writer, as all of that, music has been a great contribution to my life and my journey, and it has been a great theme to a lot of the things that I've felt inspired and called to, and have, even embraced and endured in my journey. So studying sound and exploring sound, and even getting to understand the sound of my own voice, and my own body, my own soul, my own energy, you know what I mean, has, propelled me in so many ways when it comes to like meditation, to just be a voice, or, when I feel compelled to speak, you know what I'm saying, is to not hold myself back in that, but at the same time evoke the magic of sound, soul, spirit, essence, breath, even through what is called the Heka, you know what I mean? So understanding the magic of Heka and the magic of one's voice when it comes to even just, the chants, and even just, speaking particular affirmations or mantras, you know what I mean? For me, or yeah, I mean, I know I've heard it, in other, circles and whatnot, but I would say when it comes to speaking and chanting in hyperspatial and dimensional areas, you know what I mean? The magic and the manifestation and the energy becomes more potent. Should I just say it like that? So you can imagine, nigga, when you, and even people have said this shit, this been in movies and all that shit, like a motherfucker could be saying nothing and this shit would sound so profound. Even, and it still could be nothing. Don't get it fucked up. A person still could be talking bullshit, but it'll just sound like, decorated, and it's not that it's decorated, because let's say one might be intending for something to really be something, but they don't even know what they, you know what I mean? So the energy might come out, as one way that is meant to, but the words and ideas and thoughts and things might be off from what is the feeling that's felt. And that's where it's like, what the fuck, And so really getting to understand the subtle language, of your body, your mind, your voice and all that, man. Shit, for, to me, it has helped one understand one's own signature. Because I was going to say language, but I'll just say signature. Because the language, you know what I mean, is built off of, I would say, signatures and energy and things like that. You know what I mean? So, out of the one language of English, you know what I mean, how we speak over here in LA is different from how some niggas may speak up there in the Bay, you know what I'm saying? So even vice versa, it's even Cali, nigga, just to take the state as a whole, how we speak over here in Cali is totally different from how them niggas speak the same English language in New York, you feel what I'm saying? And so that's something that I find, if you like in the psychedelic aspect or in the psychological aspect of just, words, language, sound and all this shit, you know what I mean? Linguistics, you feel me? It becomes a key thing when you know how to use your voice, when you know how to use your words, when you know how to connect, you know what I mean, with the inner voice, with the inner sound, you know what I mean, and really get to understand what's being brought up through you, and man, this is where, like, somebody told me, just because you have a thought don't mean you gotta say it or act upon it, you know what I mean? And that's some true shit. So as the observer, you know what I mean, of your mind body experience, you'll be very much more aware of what you need to distinguish, within your frame of mind and thinking of how you want to think or how you want to be and operate. Because I'm gonna keep it all the way gangster. With all the free will in the world, niggas ain't even giving themselves a choice. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't even know they got a choice. And at the same time, some niggas do, and they just choosing, fucked up shit. You know what I mean? And that's that cycle, that's that loop, And so that's what I was saying earlier, where nigga don't want to get stuck in that, man. And that's just real. So the consistency, of what you are consistently, or I would say the consistency of which you're constantly cultivating in your mind body experience will determine whatever your human behavior is, or how your human behavior plays out. And if you don't know that, and you think that's just nature or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean, then by all means, you know what I mean, and then the shit, you like I said, you don't know, you don't want to know, and you playing with yourself. And so the psychedelic path, the higher dosage or the heroic dosages, you know what I'm saying, is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. It's not for the people who want to just be fluffy bunnies. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Water Alchemist, you know, because that's what he be talking about. But it ain't for the trogs, you know what I'm saying? It ain't for the people who want to, you know, who want to play weird ass games, you know. And it ain't about the world. It's about you. The more you want to deny or get away from self, you know what I'm saying, the more you are then agreeing to being distracted by illusions or things of delusion that don't lead you to where you need to be. And so I'm not even speaking just, you know, from or for the mushroom, but I would say when it comes to the earth, the universe, and every other planet and stars, sun, moon, whatever, nigga, how could you detour from your own journey here, you know, into being something or doing something or operating in something that does not represent or honor your sovereignty or honor your soul and spirit, your energy and nature? How? You know, how could you give your power away? You know what I'm saying? So don't do that. You don't want to do that, and you don't want to find yourself doing that, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, just because for the sake of family, friends, or whatever. You want to be able to be free and represent yourself as a soul being spiritual, you know what I'm saying, in this human experience, you know what I'm saying, a soul being spiritual, experiencing this human, you know what I mean, for real, because we all spiritual beings, you know what I mean, and you know, oftentimes people get so condensed into the human ideology of the human that they forget that they are all energy. We are all energy. We are all stars. We are all cosmic beings. You know what I'm saying? So how we do what we do and what we do shouldn't really, let's say, and shout out to Miss Blue. Word is bond. Shout out to Miss Blue. We should not give all the credit away to our mind, though our mind is a part of the credits. Our mind and our body does play a part of this experience and what is, you know, manifested here, but it is not all the mind. So going beyond the idea of what we even consider the mind, because most niggas just consider the mind as the brain. That ain't the mind. That's just the, you know what I'm saying? The brain is the body, nigga. So you don't just got a brain up here. You got a brain in here. You got a brain in your feet. Shout out to the wise guy who told me that shit some years ago. You know what I'm saying? But he a psychonaut too. And so it is what it is. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just like that. But as a multi-dimensional being, I would say, you recognize your energy being beyond physical, metaphysical, you know what I'm saying? You know, you recognize your human being beyond itself as then meta-human, you know what I'm saying? But how you then transpose, how you download, upload consciously, that's all consciousness, nigga. That is where your mind, you know, let's say, don't get me wrong, it should be accounted for. You should have your own way of operating and thinking and being, and you do. But if you don't know the nature of that and the origin of that or the science of that or the magic of that, then you won't understand the emotions and the unknown of that. You would just have all of that quote unquote intellect and not understand the intuition that is looking to prompt you or guide you or give you the lead, you know what I mean, that you need to order your mind to follow. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Because as they say, free the mind and the body will follow. So if you free the mind, then who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? You gotta, you know what I mean, take some accountability, but the accountability is not, you know, limited just to your human behavior or your experience here. You know what I mean? Because when it comes to your dreams, your aspirations, your inspirations, and even the things that you do, you know what I mean, among the cosmic space and sojourn, you know what I'm saying? All of that, you know what I mean, is to be accounted for when it comes to the Akashic record and how you, let's say, record your experience through being documenting, you know what I mean? So I ain't just talking about cameras and shit like that, no, but how you live becomes a memory on the record of your not only your mind, but your mind, body, soul, and spirit, you know what I mean? So understand your energy and know your energy to understand I would say the way you want to think and the mind that you say you want to have or you say you deserve. You know what I mean? Because if we say the mind is the universe or the universe is the mind, is all mental, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But then where are you within your own space of the universe or the mind? You know what I mean? Because you would understand that you are not the mind alone or by itself. You know what I mean? You are something much greater and much more to the mind as when it comes to you being an asset. You know what I mean? So you can't be a liability to your own beingness, nigga. You know, don't be that. And don't be that for the sake of others or for the sake of trying to appease or appeal anything. Fuck it. Because truth be told, information, knowledge is what it is. So especially in a space like mushrooms, and I would even just say channel, you know what I mean? Especially like mushrooms, channels, divination, all of that. To be rather more intuitive and not so hard on the intellect and to understand your intuitive nature is to really, you know, be able to gauge in on the spaces of where the information is coming from or how the information is, you know what I mean, how it's coming up. Because oftentimes, nigga could be coming from information of the past, information of the future, you know what I'm saying? Or something that is happening in the right now, but it may not be unto oneself. It may be somewhere, it may be happening down the street, but you in your own world room aware of it or are, you know, being made aware of it some way, shape, or form. And so just get into understand, you know, I don't want to say like timelines and shit like that, but getting to understand, the nature of your intuition and how your subtle body and your spirit speaks through you for you to know what you need to know in the times of, need. Then you'll also be able to prepare oneself better when it comes to taking the action needed. You know what I mean? And that's some shit that I find is so it's valuable. It's valuable when it comes to one's own experience and let's say being at the right place in the right time to be also in the right mind. You know what I mean? So my thing is the self-realization will prompt you to know that you're never out of sync when you know who you are. You know what I mean? You're never not in alignment when you know who you are and you operating who you are and you being who you are. But one shouldn't outsource that so often to validate it and see if others are seeing it or are being it or are doing it, because it doesn't even matter. You know, like my mama told me, man. she said if don't nobody understand you or get you, and you being as plain or as simple as possible as you could be, and you keep then they just get it by lunchtime. You know what I mean? Just tell it, let them know they get it by lunchtime. And that's what she told me. And so she's like, if you don't get it, you'll get it by lunchtime. And that's just, when it comes to that understanding, you know what I mean? I'm not even about to go there. But when it comes to that, you know what I mean? That is a level of, patience. That's a level of resilience. That's a level of letting go and allowing, I would say, the divine and the universe and everything, let's say, beyond you to, let's say, show you or show you what you need to see in you or what you need to know, all that. And how you are able to receive that in the capacity is at your own will. And that's the truth that oftentimes people don't want to really, I would say, admit to, because you can't want to do something, but you don't want the circumstances or the consequences or the repercussions or, you don't want what come with that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, who you are as an experience to know what you come with and what you offer and what you share in this space, to know that it has value, to then say, okay, hold on, nah, that ain't what I tolerate. That ain't what I accept, or that's not where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? However whatever it may mean. But at the same time, even in connecting with energies or, different worlds or whatnot, when you know your energy, you'll understand the energy or the worlds, places, spaces, and things that you are drawn to or attracted to just because it is all you. And so the learning and the lessons and the wisdoms of that should always come through one's experience or one's know-how. And when I say know-how, that's putting your foot forward and doing it and being it. You know what I mean? That's the best way. And I'm not saying that like I said, you don't have to be everything, but it's to be yourself. And so when there are resources, when there are things, when it comes to the earth, nature and whatnot that are here for, the souls here, to, I would say, remember who they are and receive their call back to nature and raise awareness, you know what I'm saying? Don't play with that, Don't play with that and don't stray away from that, because it could be something, or it is something, you know what I'm saying, on the other side of all this shit, that we come here and experience, but motherfuckers tend to not know why, or tend to act like they don't know why, or why am I here, or, all of the shit, man, all of the dire ass shit that we could create in our mind to feel that way. It don't got to be that way. And it ain't that way, because those feelings and those thoughts really be temporary, unless you just agree to whatever the fuck you agree to that stimulates that, So really understanding, who you are, understanding who you are as an energy source, right? And not being a food source. You know what I mean? Shout out Brother Panic. Because when you are a food source, for fucking weak ass thoughts, when you're a food source for poverty, when you're a food source for pain, when you're a food source for the lack of things, when you are a food source for the fucking demiurge, nigga, the archons gonna have their way with you, nigga, straight up. You know what I mean? And anybody else, it ain't even gotta be the archons, but anybody else on this fucking planet, they gonna have their way with you, because you done made yourself a piece on somebody's platter. You know what I mean? And it ain't supposed to be like that. It ain't gotta be like that. And it's some real shit. So, and this ain't even no spookism, no fear, nothing. This is what it is. Some people may question like why they keep doing what they doing, or why they keep going back into certain loops and cycles and whatnot. And it's really because certain things, are being fed on from you. And you got to know, even as a responsible individual, like, hold the fuck on. I can't be doing that. I can't go for that. Like Paul Hardcastle, you gotta be on it. You gotta be on point. And it's not to be so critical, but it's to be rather wise of yourself as an individual. You know what I mean? Because it ain't about being critical and picky with everything. No, but it's a certain standard that you hold in your own self-regard that says yay, nay, nigga, it's a good or bad day. Only you know you and how you operate when it comes to this world, your experience, your connections, and the things as far as what you bring into the experience as self, as an asset, you know what I mean, as a creator, you know what I mean, as a generator, as an operator, as a destroyer, you know what I mean. And so, I just had to come, with my part 2, man, just with this 8-gram journey, you know what I mean. And the 8-gram journey, man, that was something, to me it was lit. I feel like I got to go back in on that, just because I know it was more, but I don't want to say I wasn't ready. I was so open and like in an unexpected state, just because I was just like, man, like, I guess I was like, when I fully got into the space that I was in, I don't want to say I didn't know how to navigate it, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I'm just being honest, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Whether it was motherfucking, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do this there, what I'm saying? I didn't really I wasn't big on the agenda. I was more so just wanted to see what was the experience, 8 grams, and even my mushrooms, what I'm saying? So that was something that I find is significant when it comes to the growing of mushrooms and the cultivation of mushrooms, when as far as infusing your own energy, intent, and magic and knowledge into the mushroom, you know what I mean? That's something that I find is powerful in itself, because when you are then growing your own mushrooms, or able to grow your own mushrooms, you definitely only going to experience you along with the mushroom, among all of the information that it holds, you know what I'm saying? So that is something that I've been working with. I don't say I'm dealing with, but something I've been working with when it comes to just my journey, is growing my own mushrooms, growing my own fruits, and just, being my own creator. And at the same time, learning my own magic, and the magic, of my mind through, the different elements and ways of spirit, you know what I mean? So the manifest, you know what I mean, real shit, and seeing how things, you know, I would say rather show up for me in their own potency, because that's something that I don't want to say I'm big on, but nah, fuck it, what am I talking about? I am big on that shit, bro. I'm big on it, nigga. So when it comes to the quality of mushrooms, cannabis, nigga, whatever, anything, nigga, quality anything, nigga, I'm a quality nigga, bro. You know what I mean? So it's just like, as a grower now, I look forward to that when it comes to expanding on potency, you know what I mean? And even expanding on the magic and what one can infuse into the mushroom for one to share as an experience via the mushroom regarding information. So overall, you know, it was a lot to take in, and I think that's what I wanted to do the most out of the 8 grams, is just really, you know, absorb and absorb the wisdom as much as I'm in the space, you know, that I was in. And from that, you know, I did just that, you know. So I definitely feel, as to, like, I would say, when it comes to me going on higher journeys, I definitely feel where I could do that, or where it is not so, you know what I mean, it's not so mental. It's not so mental to the fact of like, am I really gonna do this, or can I even eat all of that? You know what I mean? Because certain shit that we make up in our own human to question and to do all of that can really keep us from what the fuck is on the other side. You know what I mean? And so understanding the call of the mushroom, should I say, understanding the call of the mushroom is really the call of you within your soul, spirit, ancestors, all that, you know what I mean? Because the knowledge, the wisdom is calling you in to where you are, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, where you deserve to be, you know what I'm saying? Where you are reserved to be, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you qualify yourself. That's what I want to just say. You qualify yourself by being yourself and your most authentic self, even among all of the illusions and lies and things that may appear out of your mind. You know what I'm saying? And this is where, you know what I mean, being a real sovereign being, being a true sojourner of truth, you know what I'm saying, comes with the living experience and the living being, not just absorbing a bunch of information or taking a bunch of classes or doing a bunch of things, but actually being a part of the creation and the creating of an experience or one's own experience, or finding where you already are in that. And that's just what it is. So, you know, that's where all your tools, all your abilities become greater, opposed to using them for the lesser and the lower human behavior. Weak, whack. So let me get my motherfucking cottonmouth ass up out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all see the vibes, you know what I mean? But it's all good, man. I just want to let y'all know, you know what I mean? It's all good. You know, I ain't forgot. I don't forget nothing. I just wanted to come share the wisdom, you know what I'm saying, with, you know, my 8 gram journey, and this being the part 2 of that. And I got more wisdom and more videos coming. You know, I still am working on my Patreon, just when it comes to like uploading on that motherfucker, because it's been kind of difficult. But overall, man, you know, for those who come across this video, for all my psychonauts, for everybody, you know, all my indigenous folks, you know what I'm saying, my good peoples, man, fuck with your boy, you know what I mean, holla at your boy, you know, because, you know, it's a lot going on in the world, and it's a lot to be done, you know what I mean, within the space of the world when it comes to, you know, the spiritual beings here on the motherfucking planet. So, you know, I'm gonna just leave it at that, man, and then I'm gonna just say one love to the Heart Factory.